There are places in China right now where the year 2050 has already arrived. A drone just delivered someone's lunch in under 7 minutes. A car just drove itself across a lake. A taxi just picked up a passenger with no one behind the wheel. And a robot just walked down a public sidewalk like it had somewhere to be. Over 450,000 of these drone deliveries happened in a single year in just one Chinese city. That's more than 1,200 deliveries a day, raining down from the sky like clockwork. You heard that right, but the drones are just the opening act. When your lunch falls from the sky. You're standing on a sidewalk in Shenzhen, China. You just opened an app on your phone, scrolled through a menu, and ordered a bubble tea. Nothing unusual about that. But what happens next is something most people on this planet have never seen in person. A drone, small, yellow, and black, no bigger than a microwave oven, lifts off from the rooftop of a shopping mall less than a mile away. It already knows exactly where it's going. There's no pilot, no remote operator steering it with a joystick. A central algorithm controls every movement, and the flight path was locked in before the drone even left the ground. It cuts through the air between high-rise apartment buildings, descends with surgical precision, and lands on top of a vending machine-sized kiosk on the street below. Your phone buzzes. You walk over, scan a QR code, and pull your bubble tea out of the kiosk. It's ice cold. It arrived at exactly the minute the app promised, not roughly, not approximately to the second. This is Meituan, China's largest food delivery platform, and this isn't a promotional stunt or a one-time test flight. By the end of 2024, Meituan's drones had completed over 450,000 commercial deliveries across more than 50 routes in cities like Shenzhen, Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. And in April of 2025, something happened that no other country has come close to matching. China's aviation authority handed Meituan the first ever nationwide drone delivery license, a single certificate allowing commercial drone delivery across the entire country, not city by city, not route by route. Everywhere, all at once. But here's where it gets wild. While most Western companies are still fighting to get approval for a single suburban test corridor, Meituan is already running nighttime deliveries in public parks, expanding routes across the ocean to Hong Kong and Dubai, and operating with a precision that puts traditional delivery to shame. An average delivery time of about 15 minutes, roughly twice as fast as a human courier on a scooter. And drones are just what's happening in the sky. Wait until you see what China put on the road. The cars that broke the rules. Now picture this. You're watching a 7,600-pound SUV roll slowly down a ramp and into a lake. Not a puddle, not a flooded road, a lake. And instead of sinking like every instinct in your brain tells you it should, the vehicle starts to float. The wheels keep spinning beneath the surface, pushing it forward through the water like a slow, silent boat. It even performs a full 360-degree turn while floating. Then it drives itself back out onto dry land as if nothing happened. This is the Yangwang U9, built by BYD's luxury sub-brand Yangwang. And it's not a concept vehicle sitting behind glass at a car show. It's a production SUV that you can walk into a dealership in China and buy right now for the equivalent of about $150,000. For context, BYD is not some obscure startup. It's the company that outsold Tesla in global electric vehicle sales. And Yangwang is the brand they created specifically to show the world what Chinese engineering is capable of when cost is no longer the constraint. Here's how it works. The U9 has 4 independent electric motors, one on each wheel, producing a combined 1,180 horsepower. That alone is absurd for an SUV. But the real engineering marvel is what happens when the vehicle detects that it's entered water deeper than its weighting limit. It automatically activates an emergency floating mode. The suspension rises to maximum height. The windows seal shut. The engine cuts off. The air conditioning switches to internal circulation. And the sunroof opens not for fun, but as an emergency escape hatch. The whole vehicle becomes a sealed, waterproof capsule rated IP68, a waterproofing standard usually reserved for smartphones, and it can stay afloat for up to 30 minutes, propelling itself forward using just the rotation of its wheels. On land, those same four motors let it perform a full tank turn, spinning 360 degrees on the spot like a military vehicle. 0 to 62 miles per hour takes 3.6 seconds in a full-size SUV that floats. And in case you're wondering whether anyone actually tested this outside of a controlled pool, they did. Videos of the U8 wading into open water, floating, turning, and driving back out have gone viral across the globe. The wading depth on the off-road edition exceeds 55 inches deeper than a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon can even dream of. This thing wasn't built to avoid water. It was built to conquer it. But the U8 isn't even the wildest vehicle Yangwang makes. Meet the Yangwang U9, a fully electric supercar with 1,287 horsepower, a 0 to 62 time of 2.36 seconds, and a top speed that recently clocked in at over 308 miles per hour, making it unofficially the fastest production car on the planet. It lapped the Nürburgring in under 7 minutes. It charges from 30 to 80% in 10 minutes flat, and it costs about $236,000, roughly half the price of a Ferrari, with nearly double the power. But none of that is what made the world stop and stare. What made jaws drop was the moment this car jumped, not rolled over a bump, not launched off a ramp. The Yangwang U9 crouched down on its suspension like an animal coiling to pounce, and then launched all four wheels off the ground from a dead stop. It can hop over obstacles mid-drive. It can dance to music, swaying side to side like a lowrider on hydraulics. And it can even drive on 3 wheels if one is completely missing, balancing itself in real time using a system called Driverless X, a fusion of air suspension, hydraulic pressure, and adaptive damping that processes thousands of signals per second and adjusts each wheel independently in milliseconds. This isn't a car. This is what happens when a country decides the rules of automotive engineering are suggestions. And if you think a car that jumps is hard to believe, wait until you hear what China put in the sky. The sky is no longer off limits. Now imagine something that sounds completely impossible. You walk up to a small, egg-shaped pod sitting on a landing pad in the middle of a Chinese city. It has no wings, no runway, no cockpit in the traditional sense. Just a transparent canopy, 2 seats, and 16 rotors arranged around the body like a mechanical halo. You climb in, you tap a screen, and without a single pilot anywhere on board, the pod lifts straight off the ground and takes you into the air. This is the EHang EH216S, and it is the first and currently the only pilotless passenger-carrying aircraft in the world to hold a full set of aviation certifications. In October of 2023, China's Civil Aviation Administration handed EHang something no other country has ever issued to any company: a type certificate for a fully autonomous electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft designed to carry human passengers. No pilot, no remote operator flying it in real time. Just pre-programmed routes, redundant safety systems, and an AI that's been validated through more than 40,000 test flights and over 500 individual safety tests. But here's what most people missed. This wasn't just a certification for testing. EHang went on to receive a production certificate and a standard airworthiness certificate, the full trifecta that allows commercial operations. Real passengers have already flown in these vehicles in cities like Guangzhou, Hefei, and Taiyuan. Batches of aircraft have been delivered to tourism operators. Commercial sightseeing flights are actively running. And the footprint is expanding fast. The EH216S has now flown in 18 countries, from Thailand to Brazil to Japan, with commercial operations either underway or on the immediate horizon in multiple international markets. The head of Thailand's Civil Aviation Authority personally climbed aboard one during a demonstration in Bangkok. Aviation officials, airline pilots, and government dignitaries have all taken rides, and not a single one of them had to touch a control, because there are no controls to touch. The aircraft does everything on its own, from takeoff to landing, while you sit inside and watch the skyline scroll by beneath you. Then came the part that sounds like it was pulled straight from a science fiction movie. A company called XPeng Aero HT, backed by Chinese electric vehicle maker XPeng, unveiled something called the Land Aircraft Carrier. It's a six-wheel drive electric vehicle that looks like a futuristic SUV from another planet. But the real trick is what's hiding in the back. Tucked inside the rear of this vehicle is a fully foldable, two-seat electric aircraft. You drive to a clearing, a rooftop, or a designated vertiport. The aircraft automatically detaches from the vehicle, unfolds its 6 rotors and carbon fiber arms, and takes off vertically with you inside. You fly over traffic, over rivers, over whatever's in your way. When you land, the aircraft folds back up, docks into the vehicle, and you drive away. This thing completed its first public crewed flight at the Guangzhou Auto Show in late 2024. It flew between skyscrapers in Shanghai's financial district, circling past the Oriental Pearl Tower. It already has over 3,000 pre-orders, at a price tag just under $300,000. And XPeng is building a factory in Guangzhou with capacity to produce over 10,000 units a year, with customer deliveries expected to begin in 2026. The vehicle runs on an 800-volt platform with a combined driving range of over 620 miles. The aircraft module is fully electric, supports both manual and autonomous flight, and recharges directly from the ground vehicle while you drive, meaning the moment you park, it's ready to fly again. The rest of the world is still arguing about whether flying cars are realistic. China is already taking orders. And yet, somehow, none of this is the most unsettling part. Because what China is building on 2 legs might change the world even more than what it's building with wings. The robots that walk among you. You're walking through a shopping mall in Nanjing, China. A group of children is huddled around something on the floor. You look closer. It's a small, 4-legged robotic dog about the size of a real puppy, and it's responding to every touch, every voice command, every gesture. It tilts its head when a child speaks to it. It sits when told. It wags its tail. It dances. And when no one's paying attention, it patrols a slow circle around the group, scanning its surroundings like a tiny sentinel with a camera in its head. This isn't a toy in the traditional sense. It runs on a multimodal AI model. It can hold bilingual conversations. It takes photos. It responds to physical contact with lifelike gestures. And it's part of a wave of AI-powered companion robots flooding the Chinese consumer market at a pace the rest of the world hasn't even begun to match. In China, the demand for these robotic pets is being fueled by something deeply human. A generation of young professionals living alone in dense cities where real pets are often impractical or outright banned by landlords. They don't want a stuffed animal. They want something that feels alive. And for a few $100s, they can get exactly that. The global market for AI companion pets is already worth hundreds of millions of dollars and is projected to nearly double within the next decade. China is leading that charge. And these aren't niche gadgets collecting dust in tech stores. Parents are buying them for children. Elderly residents in assisted living facilities are bonding with them. They're showing up in offices, in parks, in university dorms, quietly becoming part of the fabric of everyday Chinese life. But robot pets are the gentle side of the story. What Unitree Robotics is building is something else entirely. Unitree is a Chinese robotics company based in Hangzhou, and in the span of just a few years, it has gone from producing quadruped robot dogs to developing full-size humanoid robots that walk, run, jump, do backflips, and recover their balance when shoved all on flat ground, untethered, with no harness and no safety net. Their H1 humanoid stands about 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighs around 104 pounds, and produces a maximum joint torque of 595 pound-feet. It was the first humanoid robot in China capable of running in the open. It won gold medals across multiple events at China's inaugural World Humanoid Robot Games. And it's commercially available starting at around $90,000. Then they went smaller. The Unitree G1 is a compact humanoid standing just over 4 feet tall with up to 43 degrees of freedom, force-controlled dexterous hands, and the ability to learn tasks through imitation and reinforcement learning. It can manipulate objects, walk across uneven ground, and perform movements with a fluidity that looks disturbingly human. And the price? The base model starts at around $16,000. That's less than a mid-range sedan. Unitree shipped roughly 5,000 G1 units in the first half of 2025 alone to institutions like Amazon, Stanford, and MIT. Let that sink in. A Chinese company is mass-producing humanoid robots at a price point that makes them accessible to universities, research labs, and eventually households. While the rest of the world is still pouring billions into prototypes, Unitree is already fulfilling purchase orders. And if the idea of humanoid robots walking through cities feels like it belongs in the year 2050, then what's happening on the roads of Wuhan might make you think the future already moved in and forgot to send a postcard. The city that drives itself. You're standing on a curb in Wuhan, China. It's late at night. You pull out your phone, open an app, and request a ride. A car pulls up within minutes. It's clean, quiet, electric. The doors unlock. You climb in, and the first thing you notice is that the driver's seat is empty. No steering wheel turning, no hands. No eyes checking the mirror, just a screen on the dashboard asking you to confirm your destination. You tap it. The car pulls away from the curb, merges into traffic, and begins navigating one of the busiest cities in central China entirely on its own. This is Baidu's Apollo Go. And what's happening in Wuhan right now isn't a limited pilot with a handful of test vehicles crawling through a closed-off district. This is a full-scale commercial robotaxi operation covering over 1,150 square miles of the city, including highways with speed limits of nearly 50 miles per hour. Over 1,000 fully driverless vehicles are deployed across the network. There is no safety driver behind the wheel. There is no human backup sitting in the passenger seat. There is no one. By February of 2026, Apollo Go had surpassed 20 million cumulative rides globally. It was processing over 300,000 fully driverless trips per week. Its autonomous fleet had logged over 186 million miles, and it had never caused a single major accident involving human injury or death. Not one. The company's own data showed that on average, an airbag deployed once every 6.3 million miles driven, a safety record that Baidu claims exceeds not only human driver performance, but also its closest American competitor. And here's the part that changes the economics of an entire industry. Baidu builds its own robotaxis, purpose-built electric vehicles called the RT6 for less than $30,000 each. That's roughly half the cost of the previous generation. And in Wuhan, where taxi fares are already over 30% cheaper than in China's biggest cities, Apollo Go reached per-vehicle profitability. They proved that fully driverless taxis can make money in one of the lowest fare markets in the country. The logic from there is simple. If it works in Wuhan, it works everywhere. And that logic is already playing out. Apollo Go has expanded to 22 cities worldwide: Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, with partnerships signed to bring the service to Europe through Uber and Lyft, targeting cities like London and several markets in Germany by 2026. Meanwhile, other Chinese companies like Pony.ai and WeRide are running their own driverless fleets in the Middle East and Southeast Asia. This is no longer one company testing one product. This is an entire ecosystem of Chinese autonomous transportation spreading across the globe, and for the people living in these cities, the novelty has already worn off. Residents in Wuhan don't gasp when a driverless car pulls up anymore. They get in, scroll their phones, and ride home. It's become as ordinary as hailing a cab, except the cab has no driver, costs less, shows up faster, and has never caused a fatal accident. But China's vision for the future of transportation doesn't stop at roads, because the most jaw-dropping piece of this puzzle moves faster than anything on wheels, and it doesn't even touch the ground. The train that doesn't touch the ground. Everything you've heard so far, the drones, the floating cars, the flying pods, the humanoid robots, the ghost taxis, all of it operates within the boundaries of a single city. But what happens when you need to move between cities? What happens when the distance is 600 miles and you need to get there faster than a plane? That's the question China answered over 2 decades ago. And most of the world still hasn't caught up. The Shanghai Maglev has been in commercial operation since 2004. It connects Shanghai Pudong International Airport to the edge of the city center, covering just under 19 miles in about 8 minutes. It doesn't run on wheels. It doesn't touch the track. It floats suspended by an electromagnetic field roughly half an inch above a precision-engineered guideway, and it moves in near silence. At peak operation, it reached 268 miles per hour, making it the fastest commercially operating train on the planet for nearly 2 decades. During a test run in 2003, it hit 311 miles per hour, and it has maintained an on-time reliability rate of over 99.97% since the day it opened. Think about that. While other countries were still debating whether to fund feasibility studies, China built the thing, opened it to the public, and ran it every single day for over 20 years. 108 trips a day, 7 days a week, 15 hours a day. But the Shanghai Maglev was never the destination. It was the proof of concept. In December of 2025, researchers at China's National University of Defense Technology did something that borders on absurd. They accelerated a 1-ton vehicle from a dead stop to 435 miles per hour in under 2 seconds on a quarter-mile magnetic levitation test track. That's faster than a Formula One car, faster than a skydiver in freefall, faster than most propeller-driven aircraft, and they stopped it safely at the other end. It is the fastest superconducting maglev acceleration ever recorded. The eventual goal is 621 miles per hour faster than a commercial jetliner at cruising altitude. And they're not alone. CRRC, China's state-owned rail giant, has been developing a full-scale high-speed maglev transportation system designed to operate at 373 miles per hour. The prototype rolled off the production line in 2021. A next-generation superconducting version was unveiled in 2024, featuring a carbon fiber body, an aerodynamic nose stretching over 47 feet, and a self-stabilizing levitation system that requires no active control to stay airborne. Test tracks are being built, engineering design phases are complete, and while commercial deployment is still years away, the trajectory is unmistakable. China is engineering a ground-based transportation system that could move passengers between Beijing and Shanghai in roughly 2.5 hours. Faster than flying when you factor in airport check-in, security, boarding, and taxiing. No other country on Earth is pursuing this at the same scale, with the same budget, and with the same intent to actually build it. And that's the point of everything you've just heard. The drones raining lunch from the sky in Shenzhen, the SUV that drives across a lake, the supercar that jumps, the pilotless aircraft lifting off from city rooftops, the robots walking on 2 legs for $16,000, the taxis with no driver that have completed 20 million rides, and now a train that floats above the earth at the speed of a jet. None of this is coming. It's already here. The future didn't send a warning. It just moved to China, and the rest of the world hasn't even realized it's falling behind.